What's good, YouTube? My man Sus, your boy 2K the God. We're coming back at you again with another What's Hot segment. And today on What's Hot, we're going to talk about the fight this weekend between Englishman Liam Smith, and John Thompson. Liam Smith KOs John Thompson in the 7th round for the vacant WBO light middleweight title, which just so happened to be the same title that the WBO stripped my man Demetrius Andrade of. We're going to talk about that. Also, we're going to talk about the aftermath of the fight. Immediately, almost after the fight, Liam Smith and Sugar Shane Mosley get into some shit. A Twitter battle, back and forth. We're going to talk about that. Then we're going to go into Tim Bradley basically saying that he has learned way more with Teddy Atlas thus far, which is about, I think, a month, man. 2 months maybe, if that be. A month with Teddy Atlas than he's learned in 10 years with Joel Diaz. Also, he's saying he wants another fight with Manny Pacquiao because Teddy Atlas has pretty much changed the way that he's done shit. At the same time, and on the other side of the world, Joel Diaz has signed Provodnikov. That's not really news, but what is news is Joel Diaz is saying that he will never train Tim Bradley under any circumstance ever again. Basically, has shut the door on the Tim Bradley book.
Dang.
Then after that, we want to talk about the epilogue for Adrien Broner that Showtime has put out. Supposed to be a little episode following Adrien Broner after his fight with Khabib Alikverdia. Evidently, he's supposed to be showing us that he's a changed man, quote, quote, now. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get into that. And then lastly, there was a little rumor that I stumbled upon basically stating that Floyd Money is going to come back in 2016 for a possible fight with Adrien Broner. What the fuck? So I'm going to start with the whole fight this weekend. Liam Smith KO'd John Thompson in the 7th round for the WBO junior middleweight title. Now the thing about this is John Thompson probably did not deserve this fight. He had already been KO'd a year ago, last January, against another prospect named Frank Galarza. Now, I've been covering boxing, been watching boxing for a long ass fucking time now. Right? You know what I'm saying? From what I understand, when you get your ass whooped by another prospect, or let me put it this way, you are a prospect, you get your ass whooped by another prospect, or you get your ass whooped by a gatekeeper, that tends to drop you down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In your career.
Your stock goes down, your stock plummets.
Exactly. You don't get a title shot 3 fights later, B. Nah. You know what I'm saying? And the fights that he fought before he got to Liam Smith, there were other prospects. It's not like he beat a contender. You know what I'm saying? Like Saddam Ali did to fucking Luis Carlos Abreu. And then that shit just catapulted his stock. That's not what happened. He fought 3 other prospects, and then boom, he's automatically in a fucking title shot. Which is something that you never see. But the difference here is that John Thompson is a Al Haymon fighter.
There we go.
Exactly. The same shit that happened with AB. You know what I'm saying? Where they were trying to give him a title and successfully gave him a title. They were doing the same shit with John Thompson at 154. But this time the plan backfired. And my man got KO'd in the 7th round by a straight right hand.
That's a big letdown.
Yeah, my man fell straight forward, B. Motherfucker was on his stomach and shit. Nigga was like trying to swim and shit, B. And the ref was trying to, ref was counting and shit. 1, 2. My man was trying to get up, fell right back down, B. Fight over.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? My man was knocked the fuck out.
Damn.
Meanwhile, Liam Smith is now the new WBO 154-pound champion. Now, you would think he would be looking at Erislan Lara, possibly Canelo Alvarez, Jamal Charlo, Vanes Martirosyan, Demetrius Andrade. I could keep fucking going. But no. Instead, immediately after the fight, he gets into Twitter beef with Sugar Shane Mosley. And he has announced today that he wants to defend his title as early as December, and he wants Sugar Shane Mosley.
Man. When
So
will
possibly
Shane
another
stop?
bullshit ass title defense fight on the fucking horizon, man.
Yep.
So the beef, I'm just gonna paraphrase it. Basically, Sugar Shane was like, "Nigga, you whack." Liam Smith's like, "No, I'm not." Shane was like, "Yes, you are." Liam Smith was like, "No, I'm not." Shane was like, "Yes, you are."
Yeah.
And
Just bigger, back and forth.
Basically, and Shane Mosley was like, "I got a house, I got a bad bitch, I got a gym that I own. That's what I'm about to go to, and I get all this shit from knocking out clowns like you." And Liam Smith was like, "Damn, I didn't mean to make the champ mad. Well, maybe this is a good thing, because maybe we'll fight now." And then Shane Mosley was like, "Whatever, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I want to wish you, what did he say? Something like, not good luck, but congratulations on winning your fight." And that was the end of the beef. But then what circumvented from that was Liam Smith wants that fight now. What do you think about Mosley possibly fighting for the 154-pound title after he just fucked Ricardo Mayorga at 160 pounds?
Mosley is becoming more and more ridiculous as the time goes on, man. I really don't know what to say about him, because at this point in his career, he's kind of embarrassing himself.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, I really don't understand why he's doing this. The only thing that comes to mind is the money aspect of it all. Shane's career, had he retired possibly after the Mayweather fight, would have been pretty solidified. I mean, even before the Mayweather fight, he could have retired. He could have left on the Margarito victory, and that would have been a high point.
Oh yeah.
But with Floyd on the horizon, I understand why he took that fight and why he did what he did. But then he goes on to get just embarrassed, fight after fight. I mean, he doesn't have it anymore, you know. And at this point, I'm looking at Shane as if he's just a name on somebody's record. You know, he's lost that much steam, and he's lost that much respect for me in a way. I appreciate the fights that he gave us in the past and everything he's done for the sport.
Yes.
But at the same time, when you continuously just put yourself out there and you continuously go on like this, it really makes no sense. You know, the Mayweather, the Mayorga fight was just a debacle. I mean, it was just disastrous. It was scripted.
Yeah.
It just didn't look good. And then Shane had the audacity, or the promoters or managers, whomever, had the audacity to put it on pay-per-view.
Yo, go ahead and correct me, YouTube. So I'm saying this off the top of my dome. I think that shit only got like 84K pay-per-view buys.
Possibly did.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised they got 84K. That tells me that there are, I guess, 84,000 Shane Mosley fans, because I don't know any, not even the most rock hard boxing fan like myself and yourself, bought the fight or even really paid attention to the fight. It had no meaning. Shane knocked Mayorga out when they fought the first time, so it had absolutely no meaning. Meaning this fight to me has even less meaning, because there's really nothing to be done but go fight a guy that a lot of people probably aren't really familiar with.
Nobody knows.
And try and take his title, I'm guessing. Yep. But Shane needs to stop. You know, he needs to focus on promoting little Shane Mosley and putting him in the ring with some guys and furthering his career and growing his son's potential. Yeah. Right now, he's just kind of putting a black eye on the name he helped build and establish.
See, yeah, Shane, I'm glad you said that, because I was just getting ready to say this when you finished. Shane is concentrating more and more, like he's tearing up his own image. Like, before, Shane didn't talk shit like this, man.
Absolutely not.
And if you go on Twitter now, every other day, Shane is arguing with some fucking fighter on fucking Twitter, dog. This is like the third argument I've seen Shane get into with somebody. And it's like, why are you wasting your fucking time? Another time, this man he's trying to find a fight for his son. Yeah. And some of the younger fighters are like, nah, I don't want to fight your son. He starts going at them. He's going in on them. Like,
Yeah.
nigga, I'm Shane Mosley. Back in the day, we didn't act like, nigga, we fought whoever the fuck we wanted to fight. Y'all some bitches. Like, what's your
Sad.
point, B? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Just exactly.
What's your fucking point? Are you trying to get back on the map by acting like a fucking idiot? Or,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, you know.
Go ahead.
No, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's at this point, it's too late in Shane's career to play the bad guy. It has no meaning. I mean, it really just makes him look bad, you know? A guy that's as accomplished as him and has the resume that he has, all of a sudden out of nowhere when he gets older, wants to turn into this bad guy who's cursing people out and who's going at people. It makes absolutely no sense. It just makes Shane look that much worse. I mean, come on, man. Just retire and just leave it alone. You know, forget about it. You know?
He should have walked. If he didn't walk away from the sport, like you said, which was a good time, after the Margarito fight or after the Floyd demolition, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He should have definitely walked away after he quit on his stool in Australia against Anthony fucking Mundine. He should have definitely, at that point, because I watched the fight. I watched it here, and I had streamed it at work, at the job I used to work at.
Yeah.
It was like 3 o'clock in the morning when they fought here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I watched that bitch at 3 in the morning, and I'm watching Shane look like he was giving an excuse for why he didn't want to go back out there. You know what I'm saying? Because Anthony Mundine was beating shit out of him. Like, it was an easy fight for Mundine. And they get back to the stool, and Shane is like, you know what I'm saying?
My back.
Oh, my neck and my back. You know what I'm saying? On some Friday shit, be like, it was just like that. And then all of a sudden, he's done. He don't want to get off the stool. I mean, it was some bullshit. That told me right there he's a done fighter. You know what I'm saying? I thought he was done way before that, but that just solidified it, put the icing on the cake. He should have left after that fight. I mean, this is a fight I'm not interested in seeing. I don't want to see it. I know who Liam Smith is somewhat. I definitely know who he is now. He's an okay fighter. I think he gets beat by any of the top junior middleweights. That's probably why he's not looking in that direction. I said in another video that they stripped Demetrius Andrade, but he's going to be fighting again, I think, October 17th. Correct me if I'm wrong, YouTube. I'm talking off the top of my dome again, but he fights again October 17th, and it's for the WBO International title, which is usually the automatic mandatory for the WBO title. So that will be Liam Smith's mandatory. And, I mean, they're just going to have to get a belt right back to Demetrius Andrade. You know what I'm saying? So
it makes no sense. You know, there's, again, a case of just too many titles, too confusing, too, you know, who's this guy, who's that guy, who has this belt, who has that belt. I mean, come on, guys, let's get it together. You know,
definitely. All right, man. Next topic. Tim Bradley, Desert Storm. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. One of the best in the game, but one of the highly underrated fighters, man.
Yes, absolutely.
My man has said that he has learned more with Teddy Atlas thus far than he has in 10 years with Joel Diaz. What do you think about that, man?
You know, what's going on with Tim Bradley and Joel Diaz is pretty sad. I mean, they've had so much time together. They've done some great things in the sport. And I actually believe Joel really got Tim to where he is today. I mean, when you've got a decade with a guy, you really can't deny what he's done for you. I mean, even though, you know, you put the work in the ring, and, you know, you as a fighter, you have to find that mental space to actually go in there and perform. At the same time, Joel Diaz, I mean, no question about it, man. He's been like a second father to Tim Bradley. So when you see both these guys going at each other this way, it's pretty sad, and it just shows you what the wrong type of relationships can do to a bond. You know, sometimes I for one wasn't really high on Bradley, and I let me say this, I don't know them personally, but I for one wasn't high on Bradley hiring his wife as his manager.
Well, we've already seen that problem before with Shane Mosley.
Exactly, and that is my main reason for feeling the way that I feel about Bradley hiring his wife. I just thought it was a bad move. And before any of this Joel Diaz news came up, I was the main one saying, hey, I don't like it. It just doesn't sound right to me. When these type of deals happen and you have somebody that doesn't know the sport the way that they probably should know the sport to be in that position, you see a lot of bad changes. And Joel Diaz leaving or being fired or whatever the case was just a bad decision on Tim Bradley. I think Bradley basically said what he said to kind of, fire some shots at Joel Diaz. It's just pretty sad, like I said, to see their relationship going in this direction. I actually think both guys have the highest respect for each other.
Oh yeah.
It's just two friends fighting right now, or two friends arguing. I wish they wouldn't put certain comments out in the press because it's just gonna force the other guy to go back at the other guy. But it is what it is, man. It's pretty sad. I do believe that Tim is learning a lot from Teddy Atlas, particularly in some of the areas where Joel was maybe, I don't want to say failing, but where Joel just couldn't reach Tim, So I've got the utmost respect for Joel Diaz as well as Teddy Atlas. He's one of those great trainers that just take fighters and he actually molds them.
Yeah.
A lot right now. You don't have too many trainers that can actually do that. You have trainers that take a skill set and just kind of tighten it up here and there, and they kind of take credit for the guy getting the victories. But Joel Diaz and Teddy Atlas are kind of like old school trainers, man, where they just take a guy, they see what he has, and I mean it's like molding clay. They completely shape and mold these fighters into just great fighters, So it's pretty sad, man, but I guess we'll see where this goes.
Well, I was asked a question not too long ago. If I were a boxer, if I was still boxing and I turned professional, what trainer would I ask to be my trainer? Top 3.
That's a good question.
Yeah, excellent question. My first was Teddy Atlas, and coincidentally, my second was Joel Diaz.
Wow.
And third was Floyd Mayweather Sr.
Yeah.
So when Tim Bradley announced that he was leaving Joel Diaz, I was like, oh, this motherfucker. I didn't want to say nothing until we figured out who he was hiring. And remember, they had Teddy Atlas or Buddy McGirt. And I was if he hires Buddy McGirt, I'm about to eat this motherfucker alive, right?
Yeah.
But if he hires Teddy Atlas, I mean, that's what's up.
Hey, yeah, there you go.
Shit about that, right?
Yep.
Well, of course, we know who he went with. He went with Teddy Atlas, and I had nothing to say about that. And I remember me and you discussed this, and you asked me, what does Teddy Atlas really bring to the table when it comes to teaching Tim Bradley, a veteran in the sport, anything new? And I said, it's not necessarily that he would teach him anything new. He would be more disciplined.
Great point.
You cannot do the things that you did with Joel Diaz, not listening to him in the corner, doing what you want to do in the fight. You cannot do that against Teddy Atlas and expect Teddy Atlas to stay there in your corner. Ask Michael Moore that shit.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? As soon as Michael Moore decided, you know what, I'm not going to listen to Teddy no more, Teddy was gone. That's one thing about Teddy Atlas. He loves the sport more than he loves the money. And that's 100% guaranteed. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You could pay him as much as you want to pay him, but if he feels like he can't get his job done, he leaves your fucking camp. Ask Mike Tyson. He left Mike Tyson when everyone knew how much money there was going to be coming out of Mike. He was the next heavyweight sensation. Yeah. He was guaranteed to be a multi-millionaire. And Teddy Atlas said, oh, you gonna fuck with my niece? Not only did he put the gun to his head and then fire off past his ear, he said, fuck you and your camp. And he was Cus D'Amato's protege. And he still left.
And he left. He's one of those guys, man. I mean, just a rare. I love this guy. I love listening to him commentate fights. I love listening to this guy just give his opinion on the sport and whatever's going on. Yeah. But he's one of those rare breed of guys that refuses to be embarrassed by anybody or disrespected by anybody. He doesn't care what your upside is or what you bring to the ring. He's just one of those guys that just has a lot of dignity, a lot of pride, but it's all in the right places. You know, it comes from a great place with Teddy Atlas.
Absolutely. So I don't think I truly believe that we will now see Tim Bradley box. If Tim Bradley goes in there and pulls that, oh shit, I need to look good for the fans so they'll like me. You know what I'm saying? He only brawls because he wants the fucking support that he sees Manny Pacquiao and a lot of other brawlers, Ruslan Provodnikov, Brandon Rios. He wants the support that those guys get from the fans. So that's why he elects to abandon his boxing even when he's dominating fights and then brawl so he can get the fan base. And that is the dumbest shit. It doesn't fucking matter what Tim Bradley does. He's still going to be the most underrated fighter, one of the most underrated fighters in boxing. It does not fucking matter. So I hope, and I'm pretty sure Teddy Atlas is telling him the same shit that I'm saying. Stop fucking abandoning your game plan. Do what I tell you, which is box and move. Use ring movement. Use your jab. Stay on your fucking toes. You can't be beaten.
He can't.
Exactly, he can't. I mean, I think he beats Pacquiao again if he fights in that manner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the idea of him wanting the Pacquiao trilogy, though, right now I'm gonna say I don't want to see it because I have not seen Tim Bradley fight his first fight with Teddy Atlas. It's all speculation right now that he's gonna do what he's supposed to do. Excuse me. But if he goes in there and boxes the fucking ears off of Brandon Rios like he's supposed to, Brandon Rios shouldn't win a round.
No,
he
shouldn't.
should not win a fucking round. This should be a 120 to 108 fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So Brandon Rios, in my opinion, is not better than Ruslan Provodnikov.
No, absolutely not.
Actually, that fight is brewing on the horizon, and I got Provodnikov in that fight.
That's the fight that needs to happen.
Yeah, they're talking about that fight being next, but for Bam Bam. But I don't think he's a better fighter than Ruslan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I believe that if Bradley boxes his fucking ears off, it's a 120 to 108 fight, and if that's what I see, then I will definitely support Bradley and getting a trilogy with Manny Pacquiao. Most definitely.
I couldn't agree more. I think we just probably lost at least about 15 to 20 views because you said Bradley beats Manny Pacquiao, and we probably going to get about 10 dislikes, but hey, that's the truth, you know?
They must not be watching the fight. I mean, the straight right hand was all night in the second fight and in the first
all
fight.
night long.
All
night long.
The only time the straight right hand wasn't there anymore was when Bradley tried to fucking slug, and that's when it wasn't there no more. But when he was boxing, he actually lifted Manny Pacquiao off his fucking feet with a straight right hand. So, yeah, Bradley beats Pacquiao if he decides to box. And honestly,
absolutely.
YouTube, look at my face. It ain't even a close fight.
Yeah.
You know
That's
saying?
Another 10 right there.
I don't give a fuck. It ain't even a close fight if Tim Bradley is on his A game. It's not a close fight.
Yeah.
So,
nah, absolutely right.
Absolutely, man. So, then again, on the other side, Joel Diaz says, I will never train Tim Bradley again. And I think you alluded to this. You believe that it's just two friends arguing. And hopefully they can patch things up. You made a good point the other day. We were talking about this, that it was possibly Monica Bradley's idea. And Joel Diaz actually said it after you said it, that that's what it was.
Yeah.
Monica Bradley didn't want Tim fucking with Joel anymore. And that's what happens when you let family members, particularly your spouse, take over your fucking career, man.
Yeah, man, it's just, business and family sometimes they just don't mix. You know, when there's a lot of money on the line, these things have their ways of just going sour. You know, you end up making some really bad decisions that you never would have made. Nobody, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, could have told me that Tim Bradley was going to leave Joel Diaz. I probably would have looked at you crazy.
Yeah.
You know, but these things, they just tend to happen, man. To me, like I said, there was nothing that Joel really did. Tim can be a hard-headed fighter sometimes, but you can see the passion in Joel Diaz when he's yelling at Tim, telling him, "Hey, get your fucking head straight, man. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Stick to the game plan.
Yep.
You know, Tim, just keep boxing him."
Yep.
And Bradley, through his own conscious decisions, chose to brawl against Provodnikov. Absolutely no reason. Joel Diaz is yelling at him in the corner, screaming at him, telling him, "What the fuck are you doing?" You know. But so I really don't see any reason to have made this decision aside from the fact that it was something that Monica Bradley wanted to do. It was something that maybe other people in his camp kind of pushed him towards doing. So I guess we'll have to see, where it goes from there, man. I wish Joel Diaz the best of luck.
Definitely. I mean, he's got Provodnikov now, so
Absolutely.
Maybe he'll turn Provodnikov into something that we haven't seen yet.
Well, that's the real test, man. If he does that, he can probably solidify his greatness as a trainer.
Right.
You know?
Provodnikov using his jab, ain't that something?
Yeah. Oh my God. That would be amazing.
All right, next topic. AB.
About billions.
About broccoli.
Yeah.
So, Adrien Broner epilogue. Showtime has basically followed Mr. AB around and gotten a couple interviews here and there on his take on the new AB and, how he's going to be now as a 140-pound champion.
Yes, sir.
Do you buy it, man?
Man, you know what? Let me start off by saying I thought the epilogue was great. I thought Showtime did a great job. They typically don't do really good jobs on these epilogues. I think sometimes they're a little dry. They're a little predictable, especially if it's anything involving Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably the most scripted piece of material they can get. But with this one, I felt that they did pretty good. From Broner, you never really know what to expect, man. The only thing that I can do is really comment on the content that was in the epilogue. And it showed Broner in just a whole different light. It showed him as more of a, I don't want to say a family guy, but just more caring of the people around him, the people within his camp, more cognizant of just his family, and just in marketing himself as as something negative. Nobody wants to see that, especially people, particularly in our community, who are pretty mindful and have brains outside of the bullshit that you hear in rap videos and things like that. So I was happy that Broner took a lighter touch. I was happy that he won the fight, and a lot of people were saying that they didn't. And I'm not sure, but some people saying that they didn't like the fact that Broner, did the clubbing and all that at the end of the show. I actually heard that opinion earlier today. And I'll say this to address that. I honestly don't have a problem with it. As long as Broner got the job done, as long as he trained his ass off, I have no problem with the partying and the bullshit that comes after that. But if I'm betting my money, I want to bet on a guy that's going to do that after the big show rather than leading up to the big show. So I thought it was good. I really did. I was actually happy to see Broner and Paulie Malignaggi embrace each other.
Excellent.
I thought that was very good. I mean, I was really, really, really happy to see that because it showed me that really the only people that hate each other and the only people that spew this ridiculous bullshit and this rhetoric, it's the fans.
Absolutely.
The fans are the only ones who seem to be fighting harder than the fighters when it comes to words.
Absolutely.
So I thought that was great, man. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better moment in one of those epilogues. It was just really good to see those guys embrace each other. Another point to make before I turn it over to you, 2K, is I love seeing Barry Hunter. I thought
right there, man.
Man, I thought that was great to see Barry Hunter talk to Broner and just to see him tell him, if you train like this, nobody can beat you.
Right.
And to touch on another key point in the epilogue is Matthew Stafford. You know, it seems as if he's taking more of a back seat.
Okay.
You know, I felt like Barry Hunter actually looked like the trainer, if you ask me. I mean, they showed him maybe 2 or 3 times, but he looked like his presence and his words had more of an impact on Adrien. Whereas with Stafford, I just believe that their relationship has kind of hit a ceiling. You know, he can't really take Broner any further than where he's gotten him. You know, so hopefully, man, Barry Hunter, I guess, can have more of a presence. I'm sure that won't happen, you know, with 2 head coaches, but hopefully he can have more of a presence, man, and more of an impact on Broner.
Right. Yeah, I like how you said you talked about the Paulie Malignaggi embrace, and you talked about the fans actually doing the hatred for his fighters because they sway in one particular fighter's they go to his direction or the other fighter's direction as far as who they like.
Yeah.
And we just seen right then and there that there's no hard feelings post-fight. I mean, a fighter can believe that he didn't lose to another fighter like Malignaggi does, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't believe he lost to Adrien Broner. But the bottom line is, on this episode, he embraced Adrien Broner. And in so many words, he basically said, hey, don't worry about how people view you. You're gonna be hated. This shit, none of this shit matters when it's all said and done. Yeah. People are gonna pray for your downfall. You just need to use that as fuel. That's what he said in so many fucking words, right? Now that doesn't sound like a guy who hates another guy. If I hated you, Sess, I wouldn't tell you words of wisdom, B. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I guarantee you, before this epilogue was aired, we could ask a bunch of people, a bunch of boxing fans, casuals or not, hey man, do you think Paulie Malignaggi dislikes Adrien Broner? I guarantee you, 95% of the people would say yes.
Oh yeah.
And this just showed us that that's not true. Another thing I wanna take from you is that the whole partying thing. Yeah, if you fucking training, I have no problem with you going out to the clubs and talking to females and fucking strippers. You do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying?
I don't care. Enjoy
There's motherfuckers out here that do the same shit. Just because you box don't mean you can't do that. But it's all about discipline. Can you manage your playtime with your training time? Can you manage that and balance that appropriately to where your playtime doesn't overtake your training and therefore you give a lackluster performance in all of your fights? That's what we're looking at. If he's able to manage that, then so fucking be it. Yeah. And last point I want to make: Barry Hunter and Matt Stafford, they need to switch. Mike Stafford,
they do.
Excuse me. They need to switch. Mike Stafford needs to be the co-trainer. Barry Hunter needs to be the fucking trainer. Because I've been saying this before he lost to Marcos McDonough. Mike Stafford is a terrible professional trainer, but he is an excellent amateur trainer.
Oh yeah.
He can get you to the amateur ranks. He can get you a national title at your weight class. He can get you to the Olympics. Mm-hmm. But when you become a professional, his job is done. And he's in Adrien Broner's corner. He's just a yes man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he is.
Whereas Barry Hunter, if you watch him work with the Peterson brothers, Lamont and Anthony, he don't take no bullshit. He's, what the fuck are you doing? I'm sorry. I guess I'm a little biased towards the type of trainer that I would want if I were a fighter. I would want my trainer in my motherfucking face if I'm fucking up. I don't want my trainer not telling me anything. I don't want my trainer. I love Virgil Hunter, but Virgil Hunter would not be the ideal trainer for me because he talks so softly. You gotta do it, man. That's not enough. That's not enough. I need you in my face. You fucking losing this fight. Get your motherfucking ass up. That's what I need. Yeah. That's what Adrien Broner would need.
Yeah.
He needs somebody to tell him, dog, you're not going to tell me what to do. If you fire me, then it is what it is. Fuck it. I'll train somebody else.
Yeah.
But this is how I do shit. Like Joel Diaz, like a Robert Garcia. Those guys are no nonsense type of guys. You know what I'm saying? They will kick you out the gym if you don't do what you're told. Hunter's another guy. Mike Stafford, not so fucking much. You know what I'm saying? Floyd Mayweather Sr., this nigga will leave you if you don't do. Look at Ricky Hatton.
Oh yeah.
Ricky Hatton went out there and did absolutely nothing Floyd told him for 6 months. He left immediately. That's the type of shit Adrien needs, dog. He needs that. So
those are the kind of trainers that guys like Broner, they need guys like that.
Absolutely. The epilogue was great. I'm not buying it yet. I'm not buying the change in attitude, his maturity level. I'm not buying it yet because he did some things that pretty much contradicted what he was trying to say. He was still running his mouth. I mean, I love it. I love the shit talking, but the point is that has left a bad taste in everybody's mouth.
Yeah.
So now, when you shit talk, people automatically be like, "Oh, this nigga ain't changed. Nigga ain't changed." But if you had never done it to that degree and then went and took L's, right?
Yeah.
And then you did it now, well, people are more inclined to believe that you're still focused. But that was the one thing that kept people from believing that you weren't focused, is the shit talking in the party. So now, if you're trying to tell people you're focused, but we still see clips of you in the same video, shit talking, you know, oh nigga, you can't beat me. I'm about to fuck your ass up. Hey B, you know, this is what I do. I grab a bag, you know, I grab a bag, you know, after the club. This is what I do. When you say that, you counting all this money, niggas are not gonna believe you. They're not gonna believe you.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to not believe them.
Yeah.
And that's just how I feel, man. I gotta see him fight, not Ashley Theophane. I want to see him get in the ring with Lamont Peterson. Because I think he's the lesser of the elite fighters at 140. Victor Postal's better. Bud Crawford is better than him. So I want to see him get in there with Lamont Peterson, a real tough motherfucker. I know they're friends, but they both hold titles, right? Adrien Broner has been on record saying he don't give a fuck about fighting his friend if it's about business. He said that about Danny Garcia. So I assume the same with Lamont Peterson. So I would like to see him get in there with Lamont, and based on his attitude leading up to the fight and how he performs, he can take an L. I don't mind him losing, but I want to see what he's doing in the ring, and I want to see his attitude leading up to the fight. That's when I'm inclined to feel that he's actually changed and matured as a fighter, not fighting a C-level guy.
Okay. Well, we'll have to see, man. Hopefully, Broner is now about business rather than being about billions.
Absolutely. I love it. All right, last but not least, a little rumor floating around out there in the boxing community. Floyd Money is supposed to come back in 2016, but here's the kicker: to fight Adrien Broner. Now, I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. I'm like 45, 55 on this. Leaning towards not believing it. I don't see why Floyd Mayweather would come back to fight Adrien Broner. I don't see the point in that. It would generate a lot of money, and that's of course what Floyd is about. But I think it would hurt their brand. You see, TMT and Al Heyman are trying to keep the money in-house, right?
Yeah.
So why would you come back and make one of the guys you're trying to make the face, or at least one of the faces of the Al Heyman stable, make him look bad? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Losing to Floyd Mayweather is not a bad thing. Everybody loses to Floyd Mayweather.
Everybody
but the thing
loses.
is, Adrien Broner can't afford another L. Especially not as close as 2016. He needs to win at least 5 straight fucking fights. And one of those fights needs to be, I think 2 of those fights need to be against an elite fighter for the boxing public to say Adrien Broner is the real deal, even though he's got 2 losses. Those 2 wins against elite fighters will erase his 2 losses completely.
Yeah.
People will be like, oh, he's the real deal. So I don't think fighting Floyd Mayweather will help him reach that status, nor do I think Floyd Mayweather will damage him reaching that status. What do you think, bro?
I mean, I agree 100%. I don't really see the significance in fighting Adrien Broner. I don't see the significance in Floyd coming back in 2016 and fighting somebody like Broner. I don't. None of it makes sense to me. I totally agree with what you said. I mean, I just don't see, like I said, any point in doing it. It really doesn't make any sense. I mean, you pretty much said it all.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense at all. You know, if Floyd were going to come back in 2016, he could fight whoever he wants to fight. You know, and like you said, why damage your brand? Why damage Broner's brand? Why would Al Heyman put one of his guys in there against somebody who is pretty much going to lose to Floyd Mayweather? Like you said, it's not a bad thing, but for somebody in Broner's position, it could be a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't see it happening. If it does happen, it's probably would be one of the weirdest things I've seen in 2016 so far in the boxing world. So
that'd be probably one of the weirdest things I've seen maybe in the last 5 years. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
Another thing, Broner would have to be campaigning at 147 on top of that, because Floyd can't go any lower than 147 anymore. So that's another thing. I believe they're trying to make Broner campaign at 140 permanently.
Hopefully they do.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to get anywhere near 147. Just stay at 140 and do what you're doing. There's some good names in that division.
Yeah.
And I mean, just stay there, man.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. That's gonna conclude what's hot. YouTube, do what you do. Drop a comment, but be real. This is real talk for real fans. 1.